The NBC6 investigators were first to bring you the story of a local police department using real photos of real people for target practice.
Reporter Willard Shepard, who broke this story.
Willard Shepard joins us with this exclusive investigation.
This is where the controversy comes in.
I've had to live seeing a bullet through my forehead.
It's necessary for them to train with real pictures.
They've eliminated this policy of using any type of those targets.
Have a story that needs attention? Contact the NBC6 investigators. Live, the news on NBC6 South Florida starts now.
Tonight, a South Florida family is outraged by this image right here and others. They say North Miami Beach police used it and the images of 5 other minorities as targets during weapons training.
People that are out there supposed to be protecting us are using us as target practice.
The department conducting that training says it has halted the practice for the moment, but the family questions why officers were ever firing at targets with images of real people. Now, in this case, all of them were African Americans.
And the family says it shows a lack of sensitivity, especially now when relations between police and minorities across the country are so tense. Tonight, NBC6 investigator Willard Shepard joins us live in the studio with this exclusive investigation. Willard?
Well, Jackie, police in North Miami Beach say they have not violated any regulations, but the chief says his officers should have used better judgment. Now, this is one of the targets that the family says police were using out there. This is the actual target. If you look on the back of this, you can see the bullet holes that have gone through this cardboard platform that they were using out there on this particular day in question. Up here, standard circular targets. This is not a real person, but a computer-generated images right here, so no controversy about that. This is where the controversy comes in. 6 minorities down here who are depicted. These are the photographs that were used out here. And this particular picture right here, amazingly, this man right here, his sister, showed up on the weapons range.
And I was like, why is my brother being used for target practice?
It was here on the Medley Range last month when the targets were used in training for North Miami Beach Police Department snipers. Shooting range records show that after the police left, the Florida National Guard came in. That's when the guardsmen saw what police had left behind.
They were all black males.
Among the photos, her brother Woody's mugshot, taken 15 years ago.
There were like gunshots there. And like, I cried a couple times.
When she said, oh my God, they use you as target practice. The picture actually has like, bullet holes in, one in my forehead and one in my eye. I was speechless.
Deant did 4 years in prison after being involved in a drag race back in 2000 here on Biscayne Boulevard that left 2 people dead.
Now I'm being used as a target and I'm not even living that life according to how they portrayed me as, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a career man, I work a 9 to 5.
This indicates
North Miami Beach Police Chief J. Scott Dennis defends the department's use of actual photographs, saying the technique is widely used and the pictures are vital to facial recognition drills.
Our policies were not violated. There is no discipline that's forthcoming from the individuals regarding this.
The chief says the fact that the targets were all African American did not mean there was any racial profiling.
As we utilize an array of pictures, and we'll have 6 pictures of people that look very similar. We have an array for black males. We have an array of white and Hispanic males.
However, he says he is disturbed by the use of this particular photo.
What we are very, very concerned about is the event that occurred here, because it happened to be someone that was arrested by this agency. That individual would be somebody that would be on the streets of North Miami Beach.
We spoke with federal and state law enforcement agencies and 5 separate police departments here in South Florida who have SWAT and sniper teams. Each told us that they only use targets coming from a commercial vendor and never fire at photos of real human beings, ever. Alex Vasquez is a retired FBI agent.
The use of those targets, it doesn't seem correct. The police have different options for targets. I think the police have to be extra careful and sensitive to some issues that might be raised.
The Deants have contacted attorney Andel Brown, who says he finds the use of human images for target practice extremely disturbing.
This can create a very dangerous situation, and it has been ingrained in your subconscious. What does that mean for when someone comes across Woody or another person on the street and the way their decision-making process on using deadly force or not.
Automatically in his mind, he's going to think target, target, target.
So they're seeing them as criminals before they even get a chance to I surrender.
Now, the police chief says that the sniper team has minority officers on it. He says his department will resume use of the human image targets after it expands the number of images in its inventory. He also says his men will not be using any booking photos from suspects they have arrested. Now, lastly, he says he's going to direct his officers to remove these targets after they use the range. Team 6 investigator Willard Shepard, NBC6, South Florida.
North Miami Beach police chief said that officers could have used better judgment, but denied any racial profiling. Joining me now is NBC6 South Florida reporter Willard Shepard, who broke this story, and Mark Claxton, former New York City police officer and director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Good to be with you.
Willard, are you hearing any backlash against this department from the community?
Well, very much so. I mean, people were actually shocked that this was actually transpiring. The police chief here and the police department in this community that's about 20 minutes north of downtown Miami, very racially diverse community, Haitians, African Americans, Latinos, big Jewish population there and Caucasian population. And the police department has said that overall they have reached out to this community in general. However, now people are asking the question, how could this have transpired? I frankly, when I first got the call about this from the National Guard members, I spent many years of my life flying fighters in the military, and so from being out on the range, when they contacted me and were telling me about this, it was just really hard for me to comprehend what they were saying, and it wasn't until they sent those pictures to me that it really settled in what was transpiring out on the weapons range.
You know, Willard, let me ask you, what changes will the police chief make about training?
Well, the police chief's point in all of this is that this training is vital, that should the time come and one of these snipers actually need to take a shot in his community, he wants them to be up to that task and receive the best training as possible. That's why he says this facial recognition exercise, being able to pick out the exact target amongst that array and that the arrays have to look similar is so vital.
So
what
he's
he
not
wants
going
to do,
to change?
he was...
He's
he's genuinely concerned about people in his community having contact with officers who have been part of this photo array. He is halting the training at this point. None of the training like this is being done right now. And what he wants to do is go outside this community, really out of state, to get some safeguards to obtain a broader database of photographs that could be used for the training down the road once he thinks enough safeguards are in place to continue it.
Have you heard from any other families involved in this, Willard?
Yes, today another family came forward. They had pretty much the same reaction that the Deans had. They could not believe that their loved one's photo was being used for this kind of weapons training that was out there. We indicated to this family that the police department says they do have others from a different background in terms of different types of photos, but the woman's simple question was that she did not see anything other than African Americans' photos that were being used at that particular time, not any mixture of any type of photographs.
Willard Shepard, great reporting on this. Thank you for your time tonight.
Let's go to Florida now, where the North Miami Beach Police Department is being criticized for using mugshots of black men for target practice. Investigative reporter Willard Shepard of our NBC station in South Florida, WTVJ, has the story.
I was like, why is my brother being used for target practice?
It was here on the Medley Range last month when the targets were used in training for North Miami Beach Police Department snipers. Shooting range records show that after the police left, the Florida National Guard came in. That's when the guardsmen saw what police had left behind.
They were all black males.
Among the photos, her brother Woody's mugshot, taken 15 years ago.
There were like gunshots there. And Like, I cried a couple times.
When she said, "Oh my God, they use you as target practice," the picture actually has, like, bullet holes in, one in my forehead and one in my eye. I was speechless.
Deant did 4 years in prison after being involved in a drag race back in 2000 that left 2 people dead.
Now I'm being used as a target, and I'm not even living that life according to how they portrayed me as. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a career man. I work a 9 to 5.
North Miami Beach Police Chief J. Scott Dennis defends the department's use of actual photographs, saying the technique is widely used and the pictures are vital to facial recognition drills.
Our policies were not violated. There is no discipline that's forthcoming from the individuals regarding this.
The chief says the fact that the targets were all African American did not mean there was any racial profiling.
As we utilize an array of pictures, and we'll have 6 pictures of people that look very similar. We have an array for black males. We have an array of white and Hispanic males.
However, he says he is disturbed by the use of this particular photo.
What we are very, very concerned about is the event that occurred here, because it happened to be someone that was arrested by this agency. That individual would be somebody that would be on the streets of North Miami Beach.
WTVJ's Willard Shepard joins me now. And Willard, my good friend, this is shocking, and it's taking off around the country, I think, because of just the plain surprising just nature of it. The police chief has continued to stand by his defense of the use of those photos?
Yeah, well, Joy, always good to see you. And from your time here in South Florida, this neighborhood's about 20 minutes north of downtown Miami. It's a very diverse neighborhood. Caucasians, Latins, Haitians, African Americans. The police chief says overall his units have done a great job reaching out to the community. But when it comes to this and these photos, his point is that there was no racial profiling here, that these arrays have to look similar because they're in essence training the sniper units to be able to go out and be able to pick out a suspect, and if it comes to it on a day, take a life, and that is very, very valuable training. Obviously, from the broader perspective, the families that are involved in this, and we spoke to another family this morning, absolutely shocked that their loved one would be portrayed in this kind of fashion, but the chief says that this training is vital and that the only way to really do it is through this type of array system. We checked across the country in many regards with federal, state, other local law enforcement agencies here in South Florida, and many of them told us they don't do this type of training whatsoever at all.
Well, Willard, also, and as you said, I lived in South Florida for 14 years, and one of the other issues is that it is a small community. And did the police chief express any concern at all, number one, that these police officers might be actually training themselves to recognize anyone who resembles somebody in those photos they're shooting at as a criminal and to treat them as such?
Well, that's something that he was genuinely concerned about, and you saw in the piece there him talk about this particular photo of Mr. Woody Deant, who's gone on with his life as an actor now, working here at a local aircraft company as well. He was very concerned that his officers could come in contact with these people. A second family contacted us today and identified their loved one in the photos, and what he is saying is that he's halted the training at this point. None of this is being done at this particular point. He is trying to implement some changes so that database of those photos that was used, and it does consist of Latins, it consists of other people, but on this day there were only African Americans that these snipers were aiming at. He's saying once that database is implemented on a wider scale, he gets photos from out of state, other places, that this training will pick up and resume because he thinks tactically it's extremely valuable.
I think a lot of people around the country are going to find it shocking that they intend to keep doing this, but thank you so much for bringing this report to us. Willard Shepard, good to see you, my friend. Have a good day and have a great weekend.
Good to see you.